Hello and welcome to Football Daily. Here are 10 refs who ballsed it up big time. 10. Rivaldo's dive for the ages. Rivaldo won 9 league titles, the Champions League, a Copa America and a World Cup in the course of a career that lasted until he was 43. Explosive and blessed with a cannon of a left foot, the man from Recife scored a goal every other game with Barcelona, where he won the 1999 Ballon d'Or. But he disgraced himself on the way to that World Cup victory in 2002. In the group stage, Rivaldo had netted an 87th minute penalty against Turkey to put Brazil 2-1 up going into stoppage time. The Seleção won a corner and Rivaldo waited by the flag for Hakan Ünsal to pass him the ball. Ünsal, frustrated, booted it at the Brazilian, hitting him in the leg. But Rivaldo tumbled to the ground, clutching his face like he'd walked into a cobweb. Ref Kim Young-ju sent Ünsal off, and Brazil topped the group. 9 and 8. England get barred. England's one major tournament victory back in 1966 also saw the only hat-trick ever scored in a World Cup final, by West Ham's Geoff Hurst. With the score locked at 2-2 after 90 minutes, England and Germany went to extra time, and a pass from Alan Ball set up Hurst. His fierce shot beat the keeper, striking the bar and bouncing down onto the line. England claimed it was in, the Germans protested, but the Swiss referee Gottfried Dienst consulted his Azerbaijani linesman Tofik Baramov and gave the goal. Germany pressed up in search of an equaliser, and skipper Bobby Moore sprang Hurst once again, who netted England's fourth. This time, there was no debate. But in 2010, in the World Cup's second round, the two nations faced off once again. Germany had taken a 2-0 lead before England pulled one back through Matthew Upson. With half-time fast approaching, Frank Lampard struck a dipping volley from the edge of the box which left Manuel Neuer motionless. Again, the ball struck the bar and clearly bounced down into the goal before its spin took it back onto the field. But Uruguayan official Jorge Larionda waved play on, and Germany went on to dominate the second half, adding 2 more goals to secure a 4-1 victory and get a revenge 44 years in the making. 7. Kiesling's ghost goal. Stefan Kiesling has had a decent if unremarkable career, but he scored a truly amazing goal against Hoffenheim back in 2013. 1-0 up, Leverkusen earned a corner and the ball found the big German, who could only direct his header into the side netting. Kiesling put his head in his hands, disappointed, but unfortunately for Hoffenheim, there was a hole in the side of the net, and the ball went through it into the goal. Referee Felix Brich, simply seeing the keeper picking the ball out of the onion bag, assumed it had gone in, and Leverkusen led 2-0. Afterwards, Leverkusen's sporting director Rudi Völler quipped that Hoffenheim's owner had spent so much money on such a beautiful stadium, you'd think he would be able to spend a few more euros for a decent net. 6. The Head of Maradona, the hand of God. You knew it would be here somewhere. Again it was England, again it was the World Cup, but this time Diego Maradona was the beneficiary of some dodgy reffing. At 0-0, an English defender spooned the ball back into his own box, and the world's greatest player ran through on goal. Realising that his 5'5" frame was not enough to beat keeper Peter Shilton, Maradona leapt into the air, lifting his hand to nudge the ball past Shilton and into the net. It was brilliantly disguised, but England went mad as official Ali bin Nasser gave the goal. 4 minutes later, Maradona netted one of the all-time great solo strikes, and Argentina went through. After the game, the little man claimed that his first goal had been scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. 5. Battiston gets battered. Led by Michel Platini, France's first golden generation faced off against West Germany in the 1982 World Cup semi-final, and they were drawing 1-1 after 50 minutes when Patrick Battiston entered the field for the injured Bernard Guengini. Battiston's fresh legs energised France, and after less than 10 minutes on the field, he was put through by a lofted pass from Platini. German keeper Harald Schumacher was alert and came out to clear, but Battiston reached the ball first and lofted it over him. The ball dropped wide, and the Frenchman was caught full in the face by Schumacher's hip, knocking him out cold. Platini claimed he thought his teammate was dead, but the ref, Charles Corver, didn't even give a free kick. Battiston lost 2 teeth and cracked 3 ribs, while France went on to lose on penalties. 4. Graham Poll, Part 1. The Merseyside derby is always a tough fixture to officiate, but referee Graham Poll had a true horror show when he took charge of the game back in 2000. The score was 0-0 as the final whistle approached, and Liverpool keeper Sander Westerveld had a free kick. He smashed the ball out, but it struck retreating Everton player Don Hutchison on the back and rebounded into the goal. Toffees fans celebrated, but Pole claimed that he had blown the whistle for full time before the ball crossed the line, and he ended the game 0-0. Slow motion replays indicated that the ball was in the net before Pole had blown, so it was a legal goal and should have been allowed to stand. What a tit. And there'll be more of him later on. 3. Mariners mix-up. Arsene Wenger's 1000th game as Arsenal boss came against Chelsea away in 2014, and, unfortunately for the Frenchman, ended in a 6-0 defeat after the Gunners were reduced to 10 men in the first 20 minutes. Chelsea were already 2-0 up, and Arsenal were on the ropes when Eden Hazard curled a shot around Wojciech Szczesny. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was covering, and he touched the ball wide using his hand. A scrum of appealing Chelsea players surrounded Mariner, who confidently took out his red card and showed it to Kieran Gibbs. Bizarre scenes followed in which the Ox tried to get himself sent off instead, but Mariner stuck to his guns. To add insult to injury, replays showed that Hazard's shot was going wide anyway. 2. Graham Pole, Part 2. We told you he'd be back. Despite his colossal f***up on Merseyside, Pole was called up as one of the officials for the German World Cup in 2006. His first 2 games at the tournament passed without incident, but then came the match-up between Croatia and Australia. Pole booked Croatia's Josip Šimanić in the second half, and then booked him again in the 90th minute, but for some reason failed to produce the red card and send him off. 2 players had already been given their marching orders, but Šimanić only saw red after his 3rd yellow card, once the game had ended 2-2. Australia went through, but FIFA admitted that they could have asked for a replay if they'd been knocked out. Pole, meanwhile, was sent home and retired from the game a year later. 1. El Salvador's stolen kick. At number 1, it's Egyptian ref Ali Hussein Kandil's time to shine. El Salvador, a nation of just 6 million people, qualified for their first World Cup in 1970, and, after a 3-0 defeat to Belgium in their first game, squared off against home nation Mexico in their second. El Salvador had kept out El Tri during the first half, but shortly before the interval, shit got super weird. On 44 minutes, Candil blew his whistle for an El Salvador free kick. Though it was unclear whether it was for a throw or a free kick, Mexican or Salvadoran. Mexico's Aaron Padilla took matters into his own hands, simply taking the kick, and Jorge Valdivia made it 1-0 in the resulting confusion. Angry, El Salvador refused to restart the game and kicked the ball into the stands. Candil blew early for half-time in an attempt to stop the mutiny, and the game continued as normal in the second half, with Mexico scoring 3 more. And all because Candil was too embarrassed to disallow the goal.
So that was our list of the 10 worst refereeing mistakes in football history. But what else should have made the list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you click right here for loads more great content, or down there to subscribe. And as always guys, we'll catch you next time.